I completely agree. I love. I mean, it's one of the best times of the year. Like we have our racing season. It's now over. Football season is beginning, so we can fully focus on it. But before I get into football, I like we obviously want to talk about a little bit about that. But you this year came to the Long Beach Grand Prix, your first IndyCar race. We got to kind of show you what's going on there. You and your now fiance, congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you.
But what did you think as someone who obviously plays at the top level of your arena, right, of your sport? What did you think of your first IndyCar experience? Whether it's the team aspect, the athleticism aspect, like I'm just very curious to see what you thought of it all.
Yeah. So that was like my first racing event in a long time. And, going around the track, like I didn't realize like how long the track was. And I didn't realize that you guys actually raced like on the actual street. Like I thought it was like usually like a, in my head, I'm thinking of like some like stadium type of thing that has a track in the middle of it. Nope, it's literally on the street. So that was something that was crazy. And then just the intensity. Like it's an intense feeling, especially when you guys are racing by, and that you can feel the cars, the vibrations on your chest, the stands, and obviously the intense speeds as well. And so that's how I would describe it. It's really intense. Like, there's moments where, you don't see the cars because they're coming around, but you can hear them coming around, and it's like, okay, is there any passes that made? They have the scoreboard going on with the little jumbotron, so you can kind of see when they're not around you, but then here they come again, and then that intense feeling like revisits you. And it was pretty special. It was pretty special. I appreciate you inviting us out to that, man. It's something I'll never forget.
Absolutely.
Now, the NFL, obviously, everybody talks about the speed of that game, and it's well documented how fast the NFL is and everybody in the NFL is. Was that racing experience about the only sport that you can imagine where you'd be like more blown away from the speed than you are every week in the game that you play?
We're talking different types of speed here, like I'm talking about my body being able to run 20 miles an hour, and now we're talking about going like, 180 out here, and flying by in these huge machines, which still blows my mind. I'm just like, man, how do these brakes just not just roast, going around I was asking Conor, I was like, do you use like two, feet for the pedals? Like, yep, you use one for the gas and one for the brakes, either all gas or like all brake. And I was just like, this blows my mind. But yeah, the speed of it is definitely different. Because you're like driving your car. Actually, I asked Conor one time, I forgot what you said, but I was like, maybe it was on a podcast we did back in the day. I was like, does it feel like you're driving really slow when you're like in your own car, just casually when you're going 50 and you're just like, dang, what the heck, it's a different type of speed for sure.
Yeah. So I always am curious, you guys as a team, right? Your quarterback has to be playing his best game. The O-line has to be playing their best game. The defense has to be playing, for us as well, we have like the pit crew, right? Like when you saw the pit stops and you could see, hey, like that race, we had a long pit stop. We had an issue that like basically took us out of the race, right? There's things like that where I think it's fascinating to relate top level sports different, like in that arena. Do you kind of see that same thing? Like, hey, everyone's got to be playing at the highest level if you want to execute, the most successful day.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting, especially in your sport, right? With the Indy cars, it's like you're seen as like the person, like, oh, it's just Conor, but the pit stop crew, right? The jack wasn't working or whatever was happening, right? Like through the whole race off, like that happens. And if you look at our game that we just played, our offense, we scored 34 points. And if you just look at that, like, oh, you scored 34 points, that's pretty good. But guess what? The defense let up 36. And so it's like, well, you lost the game. And so it takes a crew, takes a team. Everyone has their own little piece of it. It comes down to preparation that you go through, even for you going through practice laps, right? Go in your simulator, right? You're going through all of that stuff, in the weight room, making sure that you're physically able to actually go in there and perform. So the preparation starts so much further back than what the final product is shown. But when that final product day is, it's like, okay, this is a test of all of our teams and all of the functionality between everybody. Can we put it together for one final show? And that's what makes our sports so intense. It's because everyone's trying to do that, and it's so competitive. And man, it's a sight to see.
Football's back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets.
Nobody's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Download the app now and use code SPEEDSTREET to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SPEEDSTREET. The crown is yours.
Have you been like most of the world the past few years and been on the F1 train, whether it be through Netflix and watching the early morning races? What are your thoughts on Formula One? Have you dove into that at all?
I have not at all. The only reason I've even really heard about it is because I live in Las Vegas and we are rebuilding our roads for Formula One out there. So there's like a 10-year contract that they're going to have like a race out there for the next 10 years or something like that. So that's the only reason I've really heard about it. Other than that, really Conor's the only attachment that I've had to racing so far.
Thank God. We'll take it. IndyCar is better anyway. We'll take that. I will be in Vegas for the F1 race though, so I can't wait to see what they've done with the roads. So.
Yeah. Don't go there now. It's terrible.